Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night teaching night. Woot woot! Well, you may not say woot woot once you hear my teaching. It's one of those crazy stories. So we'll see if we can get anybody to jump on. I know everybody's busy. There's been a lot going on. Everybody's sick, too, again. But at least we had sunshine today. Hopefully we can get more of that. Make us all feel better. We'll give everybody a couple more minutes. If not, I'll just go on and you guys can catch up later. Hi, Tara. Gosh, I miss you, girl. Hey, Jennifer. Tara, you got to come visit sometime. I still got the crazy throat. It's turned into, I guess, an allergy attack. I don't know. It's just a mess. A mess. Ooh. Jennifer, British Columbia, Canada. I'd love to come visit that area sometime. I bet it's beautiful and I bet it is cold there. West Virginia, the southern part here of West Virginia is kind of like mild most of the time. I don't know how else to... Hey, Cora. Our winters are not like they used to be. I can remember when I was a kid, it was very cold and we had lots of snow. But we don't get a lot of that anymore. And I'm not happy about that. Well, I am kind of happy about it because the older I get, the less I like that cold weather. I tell everybody Arizona's looking better and better to me. All right, guys, let's get started. This is one of those things that I'm probably going to regret doing. But, I got to do it anyway. I'm one of those. I'm one of those people that see the eggs and the eggshells. And, Randy, you headed to West Virginia this weekend. Have a wonderful time. If you're in Logan, give me a holler and we'll have a cup of coffee. I'm one of those people that will stomp the eggshells just because they're there and because everybody else is afraid to walk on the eggs, but I don't care. I'm one of those. I'm one of those that'll poke the bear and then ask the bear why it's mad. I had a woman approach me here not too long ago, and she made me cry my eyes out. I didn't cry in front of her, although I wanted to. We were talking about her salvation, and we were talking about her story. She had one of those stories that just ripped my heart out. I couldn't imagine. And she said, there are no stories like mine in the Bible. And I had to disagree with her. Hey, Becky. And tell her this story because it's for her. Now, and it is a lot of her story. The other thing I want to tell you is this. You got to be a voice for the voiceless. And there's so many out there without a voice. The other thing I want to tell you, and you can be upset with me if you want to. I do care. I don't want you mad at me, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I can find nowhere in the Bible where it says God won't put any more on you than what you can bear. I don't find that anywhere. I also don't find anywhere where it says everything happens for a reason. I also don't find anywhere where well, he's an angel looking over you now. I don't get that. Through my grief process, there's a lot of things that I don't get. And I don't understand, and I don't know where they come from, and I don't even know why people say them. Okay? So, sometimes in life, things happen that God's not in. Okay? He had no part of it. It wasn't his doing. Some things in life are just crap. I ain't gonna lie about that. It's just a crap deal, a bum rap. It's just, sometimes it's hell. But I know a God, if you allow him to be in it, that will walk with you, that will never leave or forsake you, that will help you every step of the way, that will guide and direct, be your peace, be your love, be your understanding, and be everything that you need. Now, that being said, I'm going to tell you this woman's story. And it's heartbreaking. It's horrific. But it is what it is, all right? You very rarely hear the book of Judges preached from the pulpit, because most people don't know what to do with that book. You never hear Deborah preached from the pulpit, because nobody knows what to do with Deborah. What do you do with a woman like Deborah? I mean, how do you preach her? Some women don't understand her, and men certainly don't get her most of the time, so we ain't going down that road. And you got sweet little JL, the little tiny little petite thing that drives that tent peg that turns into that murderess that, how do you talk about her? So a lot of times when we hear about the book of Judges, we're hearing about Gideon on occasion, and occasionally Samson. That's about it. I ain't gonna lie. That's just my history. Your history may be different. This is just my history. So Judges 19, and read it for yourself. I always say, don't take my word for anything. Read it and glean your own thoughts. Hear what the Holy Spirit says to you about this. Judges 19 describes the rape and dismemberment of an unnamed woman. Now, the woman in this story is owned by a Levite. The word used to describe her is, and I know I'm going to say it horribly, Pelegesh. And it can mean concubine. It can mean secondary wife. It could be or a wife of lower socioeconomic standing. Something of that nature. But the two are in an intimate, maybe hierarchy, she's lower. She's lower in the hierarchy. But something causes this woman to leave the Levite and flee to her father's home. Okay? This is where my friend's story comes in. I hope you're watching, because I want to start weeping. So after 4 months, the Levite pursues this woman, supposedly to speak to her heart. And instead, he speaks to the woman's father for 5 days, finally pulling himself away from the banquet table to travel home at dusk on the 5th day. The Levite eats and drinks at the woman's father's table for days. So he chooses, and she goes with him. He woos her away. Okay? Are you listening to me? So he chooses to rest on the journey at Gibeah, an Israelite town, thinking he'll be safe among his kinsmen. But no one in the town will welcome him, and finally a man from his own hometown invites him to stay the night. And without warning, the men of Gibeah surround the house and demand that the Levite be sent out so they can rape him. And the owner of the house offers his own daughter and the unnamed woman to the crowd in exchange for the safety of his guest. And as the crowd presses in, the Levite seizes this concubine, the woman he had gone to pursue, and talked into coming back with him, and throws her out to the violent mob. Her body being offered for his own. Now the woman is gang raped all night long, and at dusk she crawls back to the house where her master is staying and collapses at the door. The text tells us that the Levite rises the next morning to continue on his way. He seems to have forgotten the hours of torture that brought his good night's sleep. And when he sees the woman's hand resting on the threshold of the door, he says, "Get up!" Well, there's no answer. She doesn't answer him. The man throws the woman, dead or alive, I don't know, hope she was dead, onto his donkey. And he arrives home, and he takes his knife, and he cuts her into 12 pieces and sends her body out to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, when the man tells his story in Judges 20, he never mentions his own role in the crime. Never does. Now, this story is horrific. It has betrayal, rape, murder, dismemberment, and a cover-up of everything. Sounds like a lot of things we see today, doesn't it? And the narration of the story is horrific. There's no explicit condemnation of the treatment of the woman. Israel's supposedly outraged response is to slaughter entire towns and then rape someone for 400. They raped 400 additional women. If you go on to read 20, this is what happens. Let me go on. I get so upset at this story that I could just, God's absence in this is just, in my mind, is just crazy. So, at the end of the story, everyone who sees the pieces of this woman's battered body, they say together, "Well, such a thing has never been seen or done, not since the day the Israelites came up out of Egypt. Incline your heart, consider it, speak out." We're commanded to speak out. You'll never read Judges 19 in your Sunday school class. You'll never probably hear it from the pulpit. Never seen it in any Bible curriculum that I've ever picked up to study. Sometimes profound suffering is too hard to preach. You hear me? And some of us go through profound suffering. Might be the person sitting next to you on the pew Sunday. So I need you to be aware of that too. So, Judges 19 is in the Bible. God claims this story as a larger part of his story and a larger part of his presence in the world. Victims of sexual violence know the truth of this claim. Many victims have experienced their abuse and felt that they were abandoned by God. But yet we don't make spaces in our congregation for the experiences of that to be told. We leave victims voiceless. We don't incline our hearts to them. We don't consider their stories. We don't let them speak out. Turning your heart to that woman in Judges 19 and speaking her story, either from the pulpit or just to another woman or to let somebody else hear her story, is to give voice to the voiceless victims in your congregation. And there are many. 1 out of every 6 women have been raped. 1 out of every 6. And if you ever give this story from your pulpit, you'll be identified as a safe person. And they'll come to you. And that's when God can move on their behalf and in their lives. Now, when you read Judges 20, he sent out the pieces of her body to the 12 tribes and basically blamed the tribe of Benjamin for what had happened because it was closer to their territory. And the tribe was kind of wiped out till they got down to like 600 men. And then somebody was like, maybe that's not the thing to do. But then they didn't have any women to build the tribe back up. So they end up slaughtering some other group of people and raping 400, taking 400 women from them. It's just a mess. The endless vicious cycle of this whole story. Listen, I somehow don't get the whole gist of everything that's going on here in Judges 19. But I do know this. There are many women out there. Oh, sweet sister, I hope you're seeing this tonight because your story is here. There are many women out there who are victims, who have no one to turn to. And they're not being chopped up to pieces literally, but mentally and emotionally. They're very dismembered and scattered. The body of Christ has to move with compassion. We have to hear their cries. We have to be their voice. When I think about this sweet sister and everything that she had gone through throughout her life, my heart broke. Because no matter what I've been through, it does not compare to the tragedy that is her. And I will seek her out every chance I get. And there'll not be a time that I see her face that I'm not going to tell her how loved she is by me and by Abba. And that there is a man who's never going to harm her, who's never going to leave her, who's never going to put her in any sort of position to where she has to degrade herself. That he died for her. And if I can ever get her to understand that love is going to bring some freedom. So ladies, we're being called to bring freedom to the house. And when we bring freedom to the house, we can go and bring freedom to the other captives. Read Judges 19. Let it sink into your mind that this could be someone you love and they've never told you their story. I love you all. I know you're probably going to church me after this. Some of you will anyway. I'm sure I'll have messages in my inbox saying, I can't believe you told that horrible story. It is a horrible story. It needs to be told. She's gang raped. She was thrown out the door. Then she was cut into pieces and sent to the 12 tribes. How about that?